copy of that. I gave a copy of the
Oh,
application to all the
okay, sure,
councilors.
thank you. Is that the music store?
You know what? I don't know. It could be.
Because it was, yeah, but he was on Broadway, I thought. Maybe he's moved. He wasn't in the best of shape. I haven't seen him for a long time, but he was, having health problems.
Yeah, his only income is his Social Security.
Yes.
No, I looked at that.
If you did.
Are we on, or are we just not on here? Here we go.
There we go.
All right. We'll call the regular meeting of the New Ulm City Council for Tuesday, October 6, 2020, at 4:30 p.m. to order. First item on the, we don't need item number 1, which is public notice by teleconference, so we'll go on to item number 2, consent agenda items. What's your wishes?
I'll offer a motion to approve those.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda items. Any discussion on any? Seeing none? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item number 3, gambling premises permit for Sleepy Arena Association. Let me see what it says here. And that's for Leona Kitchen and Bar at 2025 Minnesota Street. That's a gambling permit.
I'll offer the resolution, waive the reading, approving.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to offer the resolution, waive the reading. Any more discussion on it? Seeing none. Finance Director, please call the roll.
Councilor Fischer?
Yes.
Councilor Mack?
Yes.
Councilor Schultz?
Yes.
Councilor Christian?
Yes.
President Schmidt?
Yes, motion carries. Item number 3.2, raffle gambling permit for the Storma Club, and that's for Wednesday, January 27th, 2021, at the Country Club.
I'll offer a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item number 4.1, 2020 Midyear Transfers. Nicole?
Councilors, this is something we normally do at the beginning of the year for the previous year that just ended. But these transfers are ones that, for the most part, are budgeted and will make it easier to track some of these projects that were going on that we're moving these funds into. So I'm just asking to be able to make these transfers now rather than waiting for the approval later. And then I'll come back to you in January, February with the other end of the year transfers that are still remaining. So this just moves some of the sinking funds that were budgeted for capital improvement, and then it moves it between the capital improvement and the actual project accounts. It takes care of the transfer from the street department to the current year projects for the ADA pedestrian ramps improvements. It takes care of the $70,000 that was budgeted from the general fund for the Herman Heights wall, the $100,000 from the EDA for the Herman Heights wall, and the EDA did approve that last year. It takes care of the portion of Johnson Park that was agreed to be used out of the general fund and then repaid by the Baseball Association for the observation deck. And then it takes care of the $150,000 that the EDA agreed to contribute to the amphitheater.
Thank you. Any questions?
I'll offer the resolution, waive the reading, approving the recommended 2020 mid-year transfers.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to offer the resolution, waive the reading. Any more discussion?
Yes, can you go back to the 70,000, talk a little bit about that number again?
As part of the 2020 budget, when we went through that process, in order I mean, it was agreed to use the general fund and not have it in the tax levy. So that was part of the budget, was that it would use the general fund balance. So
So
that's where it's
this
coming
was
from.
budgeted, was part of our budget, not we're pulling
Yes.
a new 70,000 out. Okay.
And there will be an additional transfer from the Park and Rec Fund. That was part of that budgeted item as well, too. But that will just be whatever's left of the wall balance. So if we were to finish that project out today, with the total costs that are in there right now, Park and Rec would still have to contribute about almost $15,000 to the project, just for the wall portion.
Do we know kind of how we're doing with the wall project overall, or is it a little too early yet?
I'm guessing it's mostly done and mostly billed. That right now, the total cost in there for the wall alone is $284,000.
Okay. And what did we anticipate?
I think it was originally budgeted at 400, but I don't know that it was gonna go that far.
Okay.
So.
We're under budget so far. Okay.
So didn't we carried over, didn't we carry over Park and Rec funds for,
Yes,
That
yeah,
too.
yeah, and but that will be the remaining amount, so I don't wanna make that transfer yet, cause I don't know what that amount is yet, until it's all completely billed. But they haven't received the final bill for that project yet.
Any more discussion? Seeing none, Finance Director, please call the roll.
Counselor Fischer?
yes,
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
President Schmitz?
Yes, motion carries. Item 4.2, preliminary plot of the M&D addition. John.
Good evening. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval with conditions at their September 24th, 2020 meeting for this preliminary plat. For just a brief overview, this property is zoned I-1, the Planned Industrial District. The owner is proposing to build storage condominiums on the property, which are permitted in that zoning district. The plat would consist of one block with 16 lots. 15 of the lots would be individually owned, or would have individually owned storage buildings on them. Lot 16 would be an open area and maintained by the owners of lots 1 through 15. There were a number of conditions that were attached to this, their approval at the Planning Commission, and they are as follows. One would be to pay the platting fee of $630 with a base fee of $150 and a $30 per lot. 2, to provide an electronic file of the plat in AutoCAD 2016 or newer format. 3 would be to secure the necessary variances for lots 1 through 15, which would be front yard setback variance 30 feet. The 30-foot front yard setback is required, 0 is provided. Side yard setback on both sides, 15 feet is required, 0 is provided. Rear yard setback of 15 feet, 0 is provided. Lot area variance, 12,000 square feet per lot is required. Lots 1 through 14 are 1,650 feet each. Lot 15 is 2,610 square feet. Frontage on a public street, they need 75 feet of frontage, 0 is provided. Lot coverage requirement they need a variance from is 50% of building coverage is allowed per lot, 0 is provided. And then they also need to submit a landscape plan. Now these variances are because of the way they are doing the condominiums or the storage condominiums, where the lots essentially are going to consist of each individual storage unit, and they will all have shared walls. So that's why all these variances would be required, similar to what we would do with like a twin home or something like that.
Thank you, John. Any questions for him? Thank you.
I'll offer the motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item 4.3, sign variance request from Andrew and Nancy Lileodden or something like that.
Lileodden, aren't they? This is a monthly request, isn't it?
I should have it by now, right?
Monthly agenda item?
Yeah, go ahead, John.
All right. So there are 2 proposed actions for this item. One would be to approve the variance request by the Lileoddens to allow an additional 28 square feet of signage above the 244 square feet of signage already approved on the property, or to deny that variance request. So the Planning Commission at its September 24th meeting unanimously approved the variance with two conditions by the Lileoddens to allow an additional 28 square feet of signage above the 244 square feet of signage that were previously approved on that property of 1301 and 1305 South Broadway. So there was a variance granted previously that allowed them to go an additional 44 square feet above the allowed 200 square feet. The Planning Commission recommended to reduce the amount of the request by 9 square feet from 37 to 28. This reduction was made to take into account the 9 additional square feet of actual sign area measurements of the so when the first variance request came through, there was actually only 35 square feet of signage that they would be putting up. The request was for 44, so the Planning Commission wanted to take into account that 9 additional square feet that they were granted with that first variance and reduce this variance by that amount. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. And those were, the first variance was for 2 signs, which would be bigger, bolder, better on both the north and south side of that building. This variance request is for 2 signs that were previously installed. One of them is a electronic reader board that is installed on the pylon. And then the other one is for a bigger, bolder, better, and Taco John sign in the drive-through area of the building. So like I said, these 2 signs were already located on the property. The electronic reader board is 18 square feet, and the bigger, bolder, better, and Taco John sign is 19 square feet. So if the City Council were to approve this variance, it would bring the total amount of square footage of signage on that property to 272 square feet, or roughly 36% square feet larger than what's allowed above the 200. So the Planning Commission did notify the applicant at the meeting that not install any more signage on the property, and that their approval is only a recommendation to the City Council and not the final say. So considering a couple variances ago where there was a denial, I do want to state that if the City Council were to deny the variance, we need to state publicly the reasons for those denials, the reason for that denial, and then staff would put together those reasoning and provide it to the applicant. A couple issues just to consider is that state statute 462.357 provides criteria in which local governments are to consider variance requests, and they are as follows. Does the property owner propose to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by the zoning ordinance? Is the plight of the landowner due to circumstances unique to the property and not created by the landowner? And then 3, the variance, if granted, will not alter the essential character of the locality. So those are the questions that we have to weigh the decision on when granting or denying a variance. The city does have those questions provided in the variance application, and the applicant is supposed to fill those questions out when submitting the application. And the applicant did so, and it's provided in the packet. With this variance request, staff recommends, if approved, that there would be 2 conditions. 1, that the applicant shall contact the city building official once all signage on the property is installed to verify compliance with the variance amount granted. And 2, if there are any any sign area requests beyond 200 square feet, it will require an additional variance by the applicant. The applicant is here if you have any questions. To date, staff has not received any calls or concerns about this application.
Thank you, John. I guess I would support, I drove by, everything looks nice. I don't see any reason to deny it personally, but I guess it's up to the rest of the council also.
Well, I'm going to just, from the Planning Commission aspect, we've coming back from the commission, stating a reason, for it being unique to the property. It's a unique in that it's a narrower lot where the building is, in that aspect, and we base our off our frontage footing. So he's got 100 feet, which would be 200 square feet. But really, if you were going to build that building new, you were going to need a parking lot and everything else. And, you know, you would probably have 150 feet of frontage. Hence, you know, you'd have 300 square feet of signage. So, and
At their last meeting, did we ask about if our ordinance was up to date, or were we out of, and I think we were gonna ask you to research that, is that right? Remind me what we talked about.
So, at the last variance hearing on the previous variance application, city staff was directed to conduct a survey of different communities and
That's
kind of
right.
research what the average square footage amount was, and then also how they do their sign measurements. So we did research 7 different communities. New Ulm is middle to lower end on the amount of square footage we allow.
Okay.
But we're certainly not the lowest in that aspect. And then the way, another thing they wanted us to consider was the way we actually do our sign measurements. So the way the city does it is essentially length times width, and that's how we calculate square footage. Real easy to do, real straightforward. And other communities sometimes will follow just the outline of the letter. I think that can get real messy. But probably more messy for the person who's actually trying to figure out how much signage they are going to have. So I would, you know, say the way we're doing it and the way we interpret our measurements for sign area is correct.
So are you thinking we need to modify our ordinance? Is that?
Well, we are going through the ordinance right now, and we're going to be taking a look,
Okay.
hard look at signage and the amount of square footage allowed.
Well, I do have one question. Where are we doing that signage? This one's very unique. I can't think of any other building in New Ulm that we have signage on all 4 sides visible. That's why this one's unique to me. That's why I'm all right with it.
well, and it's a franchise, and you know it could be unique in an aspect that you've got color as an identifying. You know, that's a Taco John's when you come into town by colors or architecture, the style of the property. You know, it signifies it.
Any other questions?
With that, I'm going to go ahead and offer the approval of the variance request by Andrew and Nancy Lileodden to allow an additional 28 square foot of signage above the 244 square foot signage approval on the property at 1301 and 1305 South Broadway.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item 5.1, the resignation of City Councilor Lisa Fischer. And I guess I'll touch on that one myself. It's deep regret that we have to accept her resignation. It's something that popped up that nobody was aware of. It's section 24, page 6 of the city charter. It was an oversight in the hiring of her son that caused this problem. It's probably, and I know it's not the first time it's happened within the city, but whether it happened before or not is immaterial. Life goes on, and we have to go by the city charter. And I know every one of us on the city council has looked at every which way possible to keep her. And we hate to see her go. But I don't think there's any other choice that we do have. So, like I say, it's with deep regrets. But Lisa, we're going to miss you.
I appreciate the kind words, and I wanted to be here tonight to thank everyone, thank the council, thank the citizens of New Ulm for allowing me to serve, and I will miss sitting here and being a part, but I look forward to the free time, and I just think City of New Ulm has great staff and great citizens that things will keep continuing to move forward, and somebody will step up to fill this chair, and I just appreciate my time here, and I've learned a lot, so thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, I think, you know, we all did our due diligence when we found this out and tried to look at this from all different angles and talk to the League of Minnesota Cities, and we obviously talked to our city attorney, and this just a real unfortunate outcome. And I remember 8 years ago when you sat here and we had an opening when Todd Olson moved to Wisconsin, and you learned quickly and you got on target, and we've really appreciated your work. You've made the city better, so I want to thank you for your 8 years of service on our council as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. So I would need a motion to receive it? Order
Well,
it
it's just to
filed.
receive it,
Oh,
order
just-
filed, but I think we have to accept the resignation, so I'm going to go ahead and make that motion.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Regretfully, make that motion.
Any more discussion? Seeing none? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you, Lisa. We'll talk more later. Item number 6.1, approve the MnDOT Office of Aeronautics Grant Agreement number 1044906. Joel.
Right. Thank you, Mr. President, City Councilors. Joe Said, I'm interim city engineer. Item before you tonight is kind of the last step in accepting the federal grant dollars that have been designated for the taxi lane reconstruction project up at the airport. What this grant allows us to do is use MnDOT as the distribution agent for the funds that come through the federal process, and with the breakdown shown on the action form. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Anybody have any questions? Not, entertain a resolution.
I'll offer the resolution, waive the reading, approving MnDOT Office of Aeronautics Grant Agreement number 1044906, and authorize the city manager and finance director to execute the agreement for and in behalf of the city of New Ulm.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to offer the resolution, waive the reading. Any more discussion? Seeing none, Finance Director, please call the roll.
Assuming I shouldn't call Lisa's, right?
No, I mean,
All right.
Should she still finish? Oh,
yes, and this would have been covered further on the agenda, but Councilor Fischer's resignation is not effective until October 7th of this year, so she's absolutely entitled to continue to participate in this meeting. So, yep.
so Councilor Fischer,
Yes.
Councilor Mack,
Yes.
Councilor Schultz,
Yes.
Councilor Christian,
Yes.
President Schmitz.
Yes, motion carries. Item 7.1. We got that off my page here. Approve the revisions of the city and PUC personnel policy manual. Shauna.
Thank you, President and Councilors. I have made several updates to the personnel policy manual using the model policy by the League of Minnesota Cities. One of the policies that I needed to come back was section 24, use of city vehicles, which is updated. So I just ask if you have any questions, otherwise to approve those updates.
You aren't going to read them, right?
I am not going to read
Thank
them
you.
unless you would like me to.
Each
No
one,
major-
line by line.
No major updates.
I read them, so thank you.
Yeah, I, with a very strong cup of coffee on a Saturday morning, I opened this up and went, "Oh my, this is a lot of pages." But then as I more and more as I went through it, it was really cleanup,
Yes.
and I didn't have any concerns with anything on here because it was just a lot of, here's how we do it now. There was no major policy changes. It was just cleanup. So.
Yes.
And it's, you got to do that every now and then to keep these things accurate. So I'm going to approve the revisions to the city PUC policy manual, which will be effective on October 28th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I had one question. In section 1.9, it said the selection process, there was a line added that the city has the right to make the final hiring decision based on qualifications, abilities, experience, and the city's needs. But up above, it says that the city manager has the final appointing authority for all positions. I was just wondering why that was added, and who the city is. I mean, if the city manager isn't the city, who is the city? Or what was added?
We could add the city manager has the right to make the final hiring decision. It's just, we just want to emphasize that it'll be based upon qualification, abilities,
Oh.
experience, and what our needs are.
Okay.
So I can definitely make that change.
Okay, I just
Counselor
wasn't
Fischer.
clear on on if that was meaning a different person or
No.
what that. Okay.
Any other corrections, additions, comments? Seeing none? All in favor, say aye.
I
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item 7.2, adopt the revisions of the elected officials out-of-state travel policy. Shauna?
All right. I had some time on my hands due to COVID, so I did a lot of policy updates. So this is a policy that hasn't been revised since 2005, and it's the elected officials out-of-state travel policy. So I tried to, it was really a bare bones policy, and I tried to make it more in line with what we have in our personnel policy manual for travel. Approved by, I know the city attorney, city manager looked at it and approved it. I'm sure you reviewed it. Does anybody have any questions at all with anything?
Nope. Looks good to me.
Yeah.
No, I would bet in comparing 2005 to the last few years, there's certainly more out-of-state travel by elected officials, and I support that. When we go to these conventions, we really go and we learn things and we bring back things. And we had our retail strategies came from that. Our potential hotel came from one of those conventions, and just a lot of different software issues and things that we learn about, and park and rec stuff and water park stuff that we looked at. Charlie and I looked at strongly when we were there. So I think we go because we learn. So the policy just seems to be like it's very appropriate. So I'll go ahead and approve that one as well. Approve the revisions to the elected officials out-of-state travel policy effective October 7th, 2020.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Seeing none? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item 7.4, approve the MnDOT agreement number 1044490.
Oh,
Skipped
7-3.
one.
7-3.
Did I go too far already? There we go. All right. Item 7.3, adopt the City of New Ulm PUC communication engagement policy. There we go. Chris?
So this has been a policy that I've been working on for quite some time now, and I was able to bring it to the council at the work study session, kind of for your overview and view. But realistically, this is something that I feel the city needs to do to just get more community engagement. So this is putting out a policy on how we engage, when we engage, and what level of communication to engage with the public for projects moving forward. The benefit for public engagement, are really numerous, but having engagement with the community can only benefit and help strengthen the community in the future. We'll achieve better outcomes because we'll have more community involvement in the process for some of the projects, and we'll be able to address any conflicts or potential issues that could come up prior to putting a shovel in the ground. And that way, there'll be more buy-in through projects or things that we do. Engineering has really stepped up to the plate and been kind of the guinea pig for starting the community engagement. When they were doing construction down on Front Street, they did Zoom meeting prior to explain what the process was. The feedback was really good. There was a lot of engagement, and more people attended that Zoom call than any of the standalone meetings that they would have. So this will be kind of a work in progress and a living document. This is kind of where our jumping point will start, and it will continue to get better as we implement and see what works and what doesn't work as we move forward.
Thank you, Chris. Any questions? Nope. Entertain a motion to,
I'm going to go ahead and offer a motion to adopt the city PUC community engagement policy, which would be in effective November 1st, 2020.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Just I want to thank Shauna for her work on her policies as well, and Chris for bringing these forward. I mean, you can just tell there's a lot of work here, so thank you.
Thank you.
All right, no more discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Now we'll go back to 7.4. Approve the MnDOT agreement number 1044490. I probably added an extra 4 before. So.
No, you got it. Mr. President, City Councilors, next construction season in 2021, MnDOT is planning to replace the traffic signal at the intersection of 16th North and Highway 14. Along with that, they'll be doing some pedestrian ADA improvements at 19th South and then in the 1700 block of South Broadway as well that did not get completed during the 2017 Mill and Overlay project, and some lighting upgrades at the DNR entrance and Shag Road intersections on Highway 15. So as far as the city is concerned, we will have a cost share on the traffic signal for our city legs on that traffic signal, so for half of that signal replacement. So this construction agreement would be sharing in that cost for that portion of the project as is broke down in the attachments, and allowing MnDOT to do the work on our behalf. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Joel? Seeing none, entertain a resolution.
Nobody wants to read that long one? Offer the resolution, waive the reading to approve cooperative construction agreement number 1044490 with the State of Minnesota Department of Transportation for project 0804-117, Highway 14 and 15, ADA improvements and signal system and lighting project, and authorize the city manager, finance director to sign the agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to offer the resolution, waive the reading. Any more discussion? Seeing none, Finance Director, please call the roll.
Counselor Fischer?
Yes.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
President Schmitz?
Yes, motion carries. Item 7.5, hardship deferral for the 2021 installment due for 2018 USA improvements.
Counselors, this is a deferral. You did approve the first installment of the deferral last year, which made that installment due in 2021. So now the owner of the home is asking to defer those 2 payments. So pushing those farther down the road for a total of $950.40 in the deferral.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions?
I'll offer the resolution, waive the reading, approving the hardship deferral for the 2021 installment due of $950.40 for the 2018 improvement charges for the property owner at 1116 3rd North Street, New Ulm. Legal description is the rear 80-foot lot 14, block 185 north of Center.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to offer the resolution, waive reading. Any more discussion?
I think it just should be noted that there is a criteria that they have to meet to qualify for this, and this person does meet those qualifications.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, Finance Director, please call the roll.
Counselor Fischer?
Yes.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
President Schmitz?
Yes, motion carries. Item 7.6, schedule for the canvass of the 2020 Municipal General Election.
Counselors, there is an error on here. I jumped the gun and followed our normal timeline. There's no normal timeline this year, and the county is counting votes until November 10th. So now I'm proposing we do Friday, November 13th at noon for the canvass.
The 13th?
The 13th.
Right.
Thank you, I had a doctor.
Friday the
13th?
Thank you, Nicole, I had a doctor's appointment on the 6th. 13th, all right.
I'll move it.
Second.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item 7.7, declaring the city council vacancy for ward number 2. Chris?
per Councilor Fischer's resignation letter, her official resignation or takes place on October 7th, which is tomorrow. And per the city charter, the council does have to declare a vacancy for that seat. So this is just declaring the vacancy so we can move on to the next item to go through the selection process.
Thank you, Chris. So at this time, entertain a resolution.
I'll do it.
You can't do it.
All right.
Could you
Lisa,
do
do
it,
that? Probably better not.
Go ahead.
All right. Offer the resolution, waive the reading to declare that effective October 7th, 2020, the position of City Councilor for Ward 2, City of New Ulm, Minnesota is vacant.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to offer the resolution, waive the reading. Any more discussion? Seeing none? Finance Director, please call the roll.
Counselor Fischer?
Yes.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
President Schmitz?
Yes, motion carries. Item 7.8. This computer just keeps doing this to me. There we go. Section process for filing for the vacancy of the City Council Ward Number 2. Chris?
All right. So this is a very tentative and just draft schedule. Like to have an open discussion on the dates you would like to follow. I think Shauna has some questions that will be part of the app that she'll hand out to you for you to take a look at. But the tentative schedule will be to start the application tomorrow, make it go live, put an ad in the paper as well. Application deadline would be November 6th. Council would interview the candidates from 1 to 4 p.m. on Tuesday, November 17th, and then council would make the appointment at its regular meeting on November 17th. The reason for such an extended timeline is that our next meeting probably wouldn't have enough time for people to apply, screen, and then have council ready to interview. And then the following meeting is election night. We have to end at a certain time. So again, probably not the best time to do interviews and appoint. So that would pull us to the second meeting in November. Again, you could potentially hold a special meeting between the first and second meeting to appoint if you wanted to go that route. But this is kind of the tentative timeline and is open to discussions by the councilors. And again, the questions that were given to you would be the supplemental questions that would be part of the application process. If you wanted to potentially add a question or reword a question, just shoot us an email, and we can do that. It is going to be through NeoGov, so it's a very easy change to address.
Thank you, Chris. I just hope that going through this process that we get applications. I'll say in the past with that ward, we haven't had a good selection. I mean, nobody wanted to ever run, so I just hope the public, somebody steps forward and really shows an interest to fill the position.
Mm-hmm.
So
I would think we need to be a little clearer or add a question. Certainly the main requirement is to be here at 4:30 2 Tuesdays a month, but that's not all we do. I mean, there's other...
The commission things are all missing.
Right, so I think there needs to be another question that, do you understand, and I'm not going to say the exact words, you understand that being a city councilor means you serve on subcommittees, commissions, at various times of the early afternoon, evening, something to that?
I can wordsmith.
We can
Something like
we'll
that?
get something like
Yeah.
that. Yep.
So that's a lot of our work.
it is a big commitment.
It is.
So.
Didn't we interview you, Lisa,
Yes.
during the day? Or no? I kind of remember that.
It was before a council meeting, so
Yeah.
it would have been.
Was it? Okay.
Because I think
Yeah, I
they
think it was.
appointed right away and then
So,
that.
and you folks weren't here, right?
Mm-mm.
So
Yep.
how would we do the background check or criminal history check, or if we interview and then go right to a council meeting and appoint?
So that would be
Unless
kind
it's
of the
unless
reason
it's
for the
done prior.
prolonged. So I would say between Roger and Shauna, I would pull myself out of it. They would do a pre-screen of the apps and then bring those to the
Why
council.
would you pull yourself out?
Because I would be appointing my own boss, so I'm recusing myself from selecting my own boss.
All right. Okay.
So
That
they
makes
don't, do background checks, though.
Did,
I don't think
No.
we ever
No?
have on the
No,
council.
not on the council.
And we're not, it's not legal to do one.
till you make an
prior to
offer.
Until you make an offer, which.
Right.
Why would we not want one, Roger?
You don't do them on elected officials.
Well, right, I
Yeah.
mean, this is,
It's an
what
appointment.
you're doing is you're appointing an elected official. This is not an employee of the city, it's an elected official. Because of the opening, it'll be appointed until the next general election. So,
So you're saying we probably can't do it?
I think it would be very unusual to do it. I guess I wasn't aware that,
Maybe I'm
I haven't seen the list of questions, so I'm not sure
Right.
what Sean has got here.
Maybe I got my probation hat on and I'm thinking,
Yep.
ooh, what
Look
if a
at that.
couple people apply that?
You'll recognize them less when they come forward. So.
Good point.
Okay.
Move on.
All right.
I hope I would recognize, but what if I,
And
I-
the questions are just gonna, like, number one, have you previously served on a governing board of any type, or as a leader in any organization? If so, briefly describe the organizations, your role, and the number of years you served in that capacity. 2, does your interest in serving on the city council stem from a personal interest or goal? Is there something in particular you hope to accomplish while serving on the city council, and why is serving on the city council important to you, and please explain? Number 3, the city council meets at 4:30 p.m. on the first and third Tuesdays of each month and lasts approximately 1 to 3 hours. Will your schedule permit your regular attendance at scheduled meetings? Do you envision any problems, such as work-related matters, that would prevent you from attending on a regular basis? 4, please tell us about any other activity, specialized skills, knowledge, or professional experience that would contribute to your effectiveness in serving on the council. And then the last one, the city council must render decisions regarding the implementation of policies and our programs that may be somewhat difficult. Are you willing to take on the responsibility of making decisions that are in the best interest of the public, even though they may be somewhat difficult? So they'll fill out an application and then answer these supplemental questions to help us better select the individuals to move forward with the interview.
Thank you, Shauna. Any other questions, concerns? Not, entertain a motion to approve it.
So move.
second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item 8.1, report a list of claims in amount of $3,126,077.07.
I'll offer the motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on any of them? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carries. At this time, we'll adjourn and go into a closed session. We can actually physically adjourn the meeting, right?
Yeah, my understanding is, if you were going to explain the purpose for closing it.
Okay, to close is the performance evaluation of the city manager, Chris Dalton.
And, Mr. President, City Manager Dalton would have the right to have this in an open meeting. My understanding is he would prefer to have a closed meeting. So with that representation by him, that would be the next step here.
Okay. So we'll go into a closed session and adjourn the meeting.
Great.
What?
We do 2.5 here, the visitor budget, mention visitor budget,
Where you at?
2.5.
That was with the consent
That was
agenda?
part of the consent, okay.
Yes. Yep.
And authorize a
everybody.
2.5-minute break.
All right. No more business. Meeting adjourned.